Has your class ever made the teacher cry? What happened? In middle school science, I had a teacher who was always so sweet. She was an older woman, and she always made sure we had materials for her class, often at her own expense. I remember she went out and bought like 20 plastic pencil cases and filled them with pencils, rulers, erasers, everything we would need for the class. One day, some of the kids decided to throw a few of the pencil cases across the room. They snapped some of the rulers and just generally broke a lot of the things she provided for us, while she stepped out for 5 minutes to talk to another teacher. When she came back, she started crying, and I remember feeling so bad for her. She gave the class little pieces of candy after apologizing for losing control and getting emotional. We were the ones who should have been apologetic. She was so sweet to us, even though the class was full of demon children. Elementary music teacher here. The art teacher next door was having trouble with her classroom behavior management. The assistant principal entered her room while she had a class and completely undermined her. Assistant principal told her she didn't know what she was doing in front of the kids and redirected the class to show art teacher how it's done. Art teacher threw a fit, cursed her out, and left smack dab in the middle of the school day. Luckily my instincts kicked in, and I told my app to just bring the rest of her classes to me that day, and I had 2 classes at a time that day. I get that she needed to fix her management skills, but it's like teacher code. You don't undermine another teacher in front of students. I'm the teacher who cried, but I guess I can still share something lol. My class noticed one morning that I wasn't myself, and one kid asked me during recess whether I was okay. Normally I wouldn't share about my personal life, but I told my student that my grandma had passed away that morning. At the end of the day, before I dismissed the class committee handed me a sympathy card with really sweet condolence messages from every student in my class. I couldn't keep it in and started bawling. Yes, in year 5, 9 to 10, we had this small pretty cool teacher take over our class because our usual teacher was out doing something. One day, we would not shut up. Something happened that got us kids all excited, and I was just doodling, looked up to see the teacher just run out the class in floods of tears. I then realized just how little attention the class was given her and how much they cared, because it took several minutes for everyone to notice she was gone, then went right back to talking. I felt really bad for that teacher because she was the only teacher in our year who got no respect from the students. I'm a college teacher in the UK. Absolutely love my job, love helping the kids I teach, and love helping them reach their uni courses. Never really had many issues with most of my classes, but I had this one class that was real lazy, never did their work, etc. They got a real shit result back one lesson. Average mark was like 30%. I said something in passing, and a student made a comment about how I shouldn't guilt trip them. I explained how I felt like I was working harder than they were, and I felt like I cared more about their result than they did, despite they would be going to uni. At the time I was going through a breakup and was living in my car for a few days, and I cried then in front of that class. Awful moment, professionally speaking. Our form tutor was a kindly middle-aged Welsh gal, pure as anything, just happy to be doing her job. But teenagers being who they are, it made her a joke to many. She announced to the class she'd be leaving at the end of the term or year etc, and they all cheered and whooped. She left the classroom in tears. Kids can be assholes. Teacher here. I was witness to the death of one of my former students. Pedestrian hit by a car right outside my apartment. This was pretty common knowledge to my students, and during a Kahoot game one of them put a name as their nickname. Couldn't help tearing up, and I let the waterworks start during my prep period. I had a French teacher once. We were her first class since becoming a teacher. Lovely woman, but many of us suspected she has mental health problems. Always very quiet and mousy, and she always came in looking a bit messy, i.e. hair not brushed and makeup a bit smudged. There were these 2 girls who would just torment her. They hid pickled mussels around the classroom and were just these loud obnoxious assholes. Long story short, turns out the teacher's mum had just died, and on top of the stress of managing a class with some real horrible kids, she had a nervous breakdown and never came back. About 2 years later I was going to a concert and saw her begging for money outside a train station. Just felt so horrible seeing what she had been reduced to all because of some nasty fuckling kids that just pushed her and pushed her. We had a substitute once, and one of the football jocks went behind her and pretended to hump her. She glared back at him and began bawling. Poor lady. In 5th grade, my class was always extremely nasty to every substitute teacher that came in. They'd act out, doing and saying stupid shit, and though we never actually saw any of them cry, our regular teacher told us on multiple occasions that we'd left the substitute in tears after class was done. I hated every time there was a substitute because it would always become a shit show. Also in middle school we had a teacher that started out extremely chill. She said she didn't believe in yelling at students. Unfortunately though, a lot of the same little shits from my 5th grade class were in this class too, plus new ones. I don't remember what the cause was exactly, but one day she just snapped and screamed at us for a good 10 minutes. She definitely believed in yelling at students after that. It's one of the few things from middle school I remember clear as day. No, but once in chemistry class the teacher, Coach Bert, stopped writing on the board, looked straight ahead, and mumbled, "I could probably blow my brains all over this chalkboard and y'all wouldn't even notice." The only people that heard him were me and the girl I was talking to. I responded, "Coach, I think that's a dry erase board, nobody uses chalk anymore." And he laughed, which made me feel slightly less concerned. It wasn't my class, but my twin brother's class when we were in grade 7. We went to a public school, which was full of delinquents, but his class was especially bad. They had a substitute teacher take over one of their classes for about a month, and one of the kids thought it would be hilarious if he pretended to be severely intellectually disabled. Looking back on it now, it was horrible, but at the time everyone thought it was hilarious. He would moan words, throw books, water, spit on the floor and dribble. The class played along with it, but they would all howl with laughter at him. The substitute kept saying things like he can't control it, stop bullying him. It got to a point where he was being especially bad with his disability and everyone in class kept laughing. She ended up crying in the middle of class and later quit after she found out he had been pretending the entire time. Her breath stunk from meters away. We anonymously left a bottle of Listerine on her desk. We thought we were being kind. She thought it was a horrible prank. These days I can see her point. Our teacher had just graduated, and it was her first year actually teaching, and she got our class. Our class had all the clowns and idiots. One day, she started crying and said she was gonna stop coming to school. Now our school had a lady, you make an appointment and you can talk about anything. So 6-year-old me went and made an appointment for my teacher cause I really liked her and didn't want her to leave. If you liked this video, smash the like button and subscribe for daily dose of Reddit. Have fun and get reddited.